Hello, hello. Welcome to the Kamen Rider Gaim discussion video. I'm Marcos from Dream Bomb and whatever. Liz,
Hi.
Jason,
Hello.
Jin,
Hello.
Marcos, that's me, and together we are Dream Bomb.
Power Rangers.
Oh.
Oh.
Dream Bombers.
Dream Bomb.
Dream Bomb.
Okay. So anyway, but let's get this ready. So Liz and I finished watching Kamen Rider Gaim. I think it was literally 2 days ago. We still have the stage show to go, but other than that, we watched the rest of the movies and stuff.
Alright.
yeah,
that existed.
And Knuckle. Liz, I think I even showed you like the little interviews and Baron's actor doing some cooking with Zach. I showed you like
I love that.
I showed you like everything I possibly had of Gaim, and there's still a couple more things. But yeah, we did finish, and I do like to keep a couple of days after to just let things flow and get some thoughts out there. So this is the first time we're doing a discussion live and for a non-season that just finished. So I just want to talk about Gaim here, get our thoughts out. And yes, this is like a little preview for History of Kamen Rider Gaim, which is coming soon. So get ready for that.
Yeah.
With that out of the way, let's get started. Do you guys remember way back in the year of way back in the year of 2012 when rumors started coming out, and one of the main rumors was which someone drew was like these collectible knives coming out of like the driver, and it was like samurai themed or something?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Man,
Well,
I
I don't remember that, but I knew about the weird like leaks and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know because I wasn't a Rider fan at the
that was one of the first times that I really got more into the community. I mean, I watched Kamen Rider before then, but Gaim was when things were really picking up, not just like in the beginning, but even way after. I think even still today, you can feel a bit of that impact that the Western community especially got surrounding Gaim. And
Totally.
the leaks were one thing because while it was common to have fake leaks and stuff, not as far as I remember, nothing was really as big as all the ideas and planning that Kamen Rider Gaim surrounded. I remember there was even some rumors of like a fashion style writer. One of the first images that ever popped out from Gaim was of the suit actor just walking around like casually. I think it was like a shot from the back. Do you guys remember that?
I don't.
Man, okay, now
That sounds amazing.
I feel all the guys.
Excellent.
And I remember people were like, what the heck? That's so weird. A fruit-themed writer? What the heck? And even today, you can still hear, what the heck? He's based on an orange? Orangey! General, like, feelings on Gaim, Liz. Do you like it? Love it? Anything?
Oh man, I absolutely loved it. The thing was that like I really loved the pacing of it all. Like it's such a well-paced and just generally like it knows when to like have their own conflicts, I feel, and like characters like come up and get introduced in these very specific ways that it just makes every single episode kind of like an event. Like besides the soccer episode or like Kick Fighter or something, every other episode just feels like, okay, this is going to be the episode where the new generation riders are in. This is going to be the episode Greedon gets knocked on the head or something. That's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like really fun just like watching every single episode in these sequences. Like I know like everything back to center. But speaking of the center, I did love like the tonal shift. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like the way you could just jump just like that in this like incredibly like well paced way. Like it doesn't feel like it's that jarring when you realize like, okay, all these things were just set in stone like already. Like such a good to watch show, I feel. It's like it was really fun.
We'll try to cover as much as we can once we like go deeper into spoilers and stuff. But yeah, I definitely agree, and I'm gonna try my best whenever I talk about it, because I'll just say now Gaim is back in my top 5 favorite writers. I think it's really good, and we'll get more into that. Jason,
When I first watched Gaim, I always thought it was just kind of okay. Like I didn't really think too deep into it as when I was watching it the first time, but as I got around to watching it a second time, I thought like, is this actually really, really like intriguing. There's so much happening at once, including every single character, the beat writers, the dance crew, and everything, and even like the Invest and the Overlords. Yes, I just got really more into it as I went on, especially later in the season.
I invited you on specifically because you told me that she thought Gaim was just alright.
Yeah. That is true. Rewatching it a second time, I thought it was way better than I originally thought, but I still think it's just kind of okay.
And that's an interesting perspective. I think I'll bring this up again, but over time, there's like this cycle where like everybody's so excited about like the new series, and then as the series enters like its 20s or 30s, then people are like, it's so mid, guys. And then when it ends, it's like, wow,
it existed.
It's just there. And then like years after, it's either, oh my gosh, that season was actually a lot better than we thought, or wow, that season was a lot worse than we thought. It's really bad. Build, it's colorful. Oh my gosh, the evil dark was horrible. 01. Not naming any recent seasons or anything aside from build. So anyway, Jin, overall general thoughts?
It's pretty much the same as Jason's. For me, it's weird with Gaim. Like, first, I started right with X. Enjoyed it. Then I went on to build. I liked it. Second half, but I liked build. But then everybody kept telling me, oh, you should watch Gaim. You should watch Gaim. They kept overhyping it. I was just like the second coming of Jesus. Like, straight up like the second coming. And I'm just like, all right, I'll give Gaim a shot. And I was just really underwhelmed. Like, I didn't understand, like, what's so great about character Gaim, in my personal opinion. Like, no offense to anybody who really loves it, but for me, it was just really overhyped to where I just like found it like really overrated. I didn't enjoy a good amount of stuff that the show did. Like, just to only like scratch the surface, I didn't really enjoy like the amount of bleakness there was in the second half. I didn't enjoy the suit, the monster designs at all. My wasted character, and really just I just didn't really see what was so great about it. Like, it's objectively a good series. It's well done. It's well paced. But for me, it's just like, I enjoyed Drive way more after I watched Gaim. Drive was just hitting all the best notes for me.
So, the biggest thing that I'm going to try to cover in Gaim is that I want more people to be okay with the notion of, yeah, it's a good show, but it's not for me. It doesn't appeal to me. It's
Yeah.
I can see why people like it, but it's not for me. That's the main thing I'm gonna cover. I think Jin pretty much brought up that point pretty well, in that objectively it could be a good show, but you'd rather watch Drive, and that's completely okay.
Yeah.
I agree. It's okay.
In my opinion, Drive is amazing. I know people who dislike Drive, but I'm just like, that's okay. But for me, Drive is like amazing. And your opinion is wrong anyway, so.
But then you're gonna get those people who are like, it's overrated.
Let's normalize having your own opinion, even if others don't agree with it, which is
All
fine.
right, then. Gaim sucks. There we go.
How dare you, Jin?
Get off this video.
I've got all the guns pointed at me right now.
I'm joking. So yeah, okay. So from here we're gonna get more into spoiler territory. I'm just warning you guys now, even though there's 100 of you, I'm sure at least a lot of you watched Gaim, or at the very least interested in what we have to say, because I will have a lot to say. I'm expecting the Gaim video being 2 to 3 hours, so yeah, definitely a lot to say with it. I can't really bring up Gaim without mentioning the Uro Butcher himself. His nickname is the Uro Butcher because of what he does with his characters and his story.
Don't you mean the Uro Pagerizer?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so can I just say out? I appreciate the joke though. Can I just say right now, I've never understood the notion of Ryuki or Madoka Magica is just Ryuki, or Gaim is just Madoka Magica but with Ryuki. I never really understood that. I kind of get it, but it's not really something I understood 100%. And you guys will be getting a Madoka Magica video before I get to Gaim, because I feel like there's a lot of parallels in terms of the way he writes, not just stories, but his writing style, and that's the main reason why.
You should really add to your Gaim video saying you're probably wondering that you've probably seen the show before, and just show like a quick snippet of Madoka. You've probably seen the show before.
Yeah, but like the whole the idea of like them being like similar in tones is like I feel like they're tonally similar, but also like there are certain characters that fit certain roles, and that's where I feel like the similarities like draw together with like that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like they're very different shows, like inherently. One feels in a kind of '90s anime influenced magic girl show, but with like a big twist to it. Yeah. And the other one feels like a Kamen Rider show kind of turned on its head with an apocalypse-centered plot like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The thing about Madoka and Gaim, even to an extent, is that I wouldn't recommend Gaim as a first viewing. I mean, it's good, and I think people who watch it as their first series would really enjoy it. But I think you would really get a lot more out of it if you've seen previous seasons, because while Madoka is a deconstruction of the magical girl anime, you wouldn't really understand those deconstructions unless you have an idea of how magical girl animes are. And I would say the same thing about Gaim. Like even if you watched Heisei Phase 1, there's a lot of darker themes that then you would understand in like Heisei Phase 2, because while Double is fun, there's still like some pretty not fun moments with certain characters. And with Gaim, it's fun from the beginning, but then the deconstruction comes when Kouta in like episode 3 is like, I can't transform because I'm gonna put everyone in danger. And you didn't really get that as far as I remember. I'm sure there was like a couple episodes in like Blade that dealt with that, but for the most part, Gaim was you'll get a lot more out of Gaim if you've seen previous seasons.
Especially like when you're like so used to Heisei Phase 2 that I know a lot of people are. Like this is like a very like there's like a certain departure after the whole new generation writers like reveal that is just so incredible, and like that it's just like even the Phase 1 shows they seem like they have a certain plot that just goes forward throughout, and you sort of understand that. And I kind of like Ryuki is very straightforward. I feel like Kabuto is like I'm not saying like the Ryuki it has like all the alternate endings and stuff. That's not straightforward, but I'm saying like between the show themselves, like you kind of expect what you're getting. Yeah. But the Gaim, it's like there's like a huge emphasis on one of the main character's friends who like he accidentally kills him and stuff, like, and just more on top of that, like when a character dies, it's like it's referenced throughout, like everybody knows about it, everybody is like affected by it. It's like very, very special like that, I feel.
Have you guys seen Ryuki?
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, at least you guys know the general thing. It's like writers have to defeat each other and yada yada. Well, pretty much kill each other. And I get what you mean, Liz. The effects of a death or the effects of a certain event is felt through not just one character but everybody, because in Ryuki it's not really a spoiler, he's literally the first writer to die in like 5 episodes. But Kamen Rider Scissors is meant to be like the introduction to the whole like, oh, death is inevitable and we do have to fight each other in this rider battle. So when he dies, the only one who's really affected is like Shinji, and that's okay. Like it develops his character, pushes him forward a bit, that's fine. But then Ren's like, oh, that's just how it is, and everybody else
normal.
Yeah, and then literally every other writer's like, who? So and but in Kamen Rider Gaim, when Yuya is revealed to be the first one and Michi is the only person who knows about it in Team Gaim, Michi's affected really hard, and then everybody else sees like what's wrong with Michi, that he's not acting right. And then when Kouta finds out, he's like, Michi, why didn't you tell me? And then that affects Mai too, and then that affects Team Gaim, and then Team Gaim has to like live with Yuya being gone. And see that there's like this a domino effect that happens if one event starts, then it just continues on throughout Gaim, and it's just so good. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep saying that a lot. Gaim is just really good with its storytelling. And Emma Jason.
Well, later on in the season, that moment that clicked in my head the most out of all like other moments in the show was when Hase, when he first dies. And then the new gen writers appear, or the Genesis writers appear. That clicked in my mind, saying like, "This show is kind of fun." in a way.
What?
This show is like really, really. I don't want to say like dark, because it's not really dark, but has like that tone to it.
Jin, is there anything specific you just didn't like in Gaim? Anything that like brought down the show for you?
I mean, just the bleakness. Not to say anything like stark and edgy, just the bleakness for me. For the whole second half, I just like wasn't really into. I'm just like, where's like the joy and the fun? It feels like everything is like, you know, super serious.
Gloomy.
Yeah, because like in the first half, I was really into it. Like, yeah, the dancing stuff may be kind of, you know, out there, but it was kind of interesting to see. But then after that, I'm just like, I wish the dancing stayed. Like, I enjoyed my bleak moments. Like, Garo has them, but Garo knows when to sprinkle, you know, good stuff in between. But for Gaim, just like the whole second, I'm just like, ugh. But there was good moments. But I think like my favorite episode, which I think Liz will probably disagree with me, has to be the one with Kaito and soccer.
Oh my gosh!
No, that was a good episode. I agree with you. It's a good episode. I like Kaito's like development in it. It doesn't matter to me. Like even if it is like tied for the movie and it's made for the movie, I just love like Kaito is such a smart character, and I don't think many people like begin to like. I know a lot of people who like begin to say like Kaito's a bad character. I watch it for Michi, and that's like a weird opinion to have for me, because like Kaito's like such a determined character, and he's like so like he has his own modus operandi really, and I just love that about him. I love like seeing his development, even if it like ended that way.
Yeah, that episode really put a smile on my face, just seeing Kaito so out of character. Like, yeah, he's serious, but there are moments where, you know, vulnerable. Like, you see the stupid side of him. And that was, like, what I love to see. And I also enjoyed the very last episode with Michi. Like, I know a lot of people don't enjoy it, but for me, it's like, it felt good seeing Michi, you know, get redeemed. Like, yeah, he did a bunch of terrible stuff, but Kouta was there to forgive him. Be like, we're still friends. Don't worry. Like, let's fight together again. You know, go join everybody else. Like, the past is the past. You could prove yourself, become a better person. Like,
yeah, that put a smile
I
on
love
my
that.
face. It was really good.
I have to disagree about that, actually. I feel like Michi is sort of like a wandering like sinner in this, like he's given like his own like personal hell on earth sort of thing.
Demon.
Where it's just kind of like he's repenting for his sins, like, and he can't like really begin to forgive himself. Like all these people who try to forgive him don't know the actual like spectrum of everything that has happened and whatever. And it's like I love that side that it's like I don't feel like Michi has been redeemed. I feel like he was given like another chance together to like I don't know. I just feel like his morals are in the right place, but he can't exactly repair what has been done, and I kind of like that. I feel
one of the things that I see people not like about Gaim is Michi got a redemption episode, but I'll have to agree with Liz that it wasn't a redemption per se. I talked to Liz about this right after we finished the episode, but I specifically said this isn't really a redemption. It's the whole point of the episode. The main thing that everybody kept saying, the main point was to say it's okay to move on. It's not a redemption of it's okay, Michi, you did these bad things, but come dance with us. It's more of a you did these bad things, but you should move on. Now you can come dance with us.
Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah.
It's pretty symbolic how, you know, like Kouta basically becomes Jesus and he comes down saying to Michi, "Don't worry, Michi, I forgive you. I died for your sin."
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting notion there. I was gonna say, like, what I really love about Michi is like I grew to like really enjoy him as a character, not for like what he did, but like just his like role and his like the kind of like events that happened to him. I really throughout the whole show I was like, oh man, Michi is the worst. I really hate Michi and stuff. but like,
he still is, but
yeah,
his journey is pretty great.
Yeah, but it's like exactly Michi's journey is like not one to be like you're supposed to like it. It's supposed to be like he's supposed to be a tragic character. He's supposed to have all this build up and like him trying to like pull these things off, and he's not supposed to make it in the end, really. Like that, and that's like what his tragedy is like. And I kind of like talked to this with Marcos too. Like I made like a whole list of characters you can compare him to, and like I kind of compared it to Macbeth, or I also pointed out while we were watching with his relationship to Takatora, I kind of saw like a Cain and Abel sort of parallel there. And also compared it with Tony Montana from Scarface. Like that's kind of like how I feel about that. His appreciation is for you to like understand him as a tragic character and all, not him as like a character who you should understand his ambitions. Because like people are just irrational like that. I feel like people do irrational things without them like really understanding. Once again, he has his own MO. He has like this own ambition that he's trying to get through with, even if it is like sociopathic. But like you're not supposed to look at that and say, yeah, I understand him. You're supposed to look at him and say, I feel sorry for him. Like you're supposed to like look down on him, I suppose.
I think one of the weirdest things is maybe I'm either overlooking things or I'm looking too deep into things. And I remember I had this one comment in one of these videos saying something like, "Oh, you say that Gayamatsu is supposed to be this evil monster, just like Michi, but that actually means he has bad writing, not because he's evil, he's just bad." And I had to highly disagree with that, and that goes with Michi. But continue on from that, I'll have to disagree with saying that you hate a character because they're bad writing, because Michi is. You're not supposed to like him, and that's the main thing. You're not supposed to. He's a monster to his friends, to his own brother, his own blood, and me saying, yeah, you're not supposed to like him doesn't mean he has bad writing. It means it's good enough that's the point that you're reaching.
Oh, that I would just like to say that for Michi is I personally do not like Michi at all, but I enjoy his character development a lot. Like, to me, he's one of the strongest characters.
Oh, Jin, you cut out.
I think Jin just like entered another dimension.
Michi is probably, for me, one of the strongest characters to come out of Gaim, in my opinion. Yeah, I personally don't like him. Like, I wouldn't be friends with him, but I can't really say for me. I can't say his development was bad in my opinion. Like, it was really good. Like, I was really invested in, unlike Kaito. Ooh. My strength.
I'm sorry, but I'll have to agree with that because I think Michi's a better character than Kaito.
Kaito was just about strength.
My only flaw with Kaito was his transition at the end of him just not believing in humanity, or just like saying he's the all-powerful deity of life. And like honestly. Before his transition, I thought Kaito was like, he was cool-tempered. He believed what he believed, like he did what he wanted. But then him turning into this guy who just wants to rule over humanity, or just wipe it completely. That kind of came out of nowhere.
I don't know. I don't think it came exactly out of nowhere. It feels like the culmination of everything that the Forbidden Fruit like sort of represents, in the fact that these Helheim fruit are like the exact figures of temptation for which like it's very biblical is the thing. Like, and you've seen it like from Yuya originally, and Hase is like the earliest like time you could see this happening with. But like for me, I saw Kaito as it's like a cautionary tale. He tries to solve things within his own right, but then he's forced to like have one of the Helheim fruit, and he's turned into an overlord like that. And that's like, and then his morals are completely out of shape. And I feel like it's not so. I don't feel like it came out of nowhere personally. I feel like the process that starts with Yuya, goes into Hase, and now here's Kaito who's being affected by the Helheim fruit like that.
I'm seeing people here say that Kaito has zero development, but I'll have to disagree with that too, because in the start of the show, Kaito was just this guy who danced because he wanted to have power over other dancers, something like that. But then like over the show, you see that he learns to like trust his teammates, Zach and Peko specifically. Like, he gave Zach a driver because he trusted him to lead the team. If he had no development and just wanted power for himself, he wouldn't have done that. He would continue.
Exactly.
He would continue being this lone guy, and he probably wouldn't have even talked to Zach in the first place. And towards the end, when Zach betrayed Kaito, it was because Kaito trusted him. He learned to trust his friends, his teammates, and then he got betrayed. But still, that was development. And then Jason, I have to disagree with you on this too when you said that.
Yeah, I probably read everything wrong when I'm watching.
But I mean, I understand. I don't want to say you have a big brain to like understand the details, but I missed it the first time too. Like, this is like my third rewatch of Gaim, and this time I got a lot more out of it. But I notice now when there's like when Kaito acts like coldly, like he doesn't say anything, he just acts coldly towards certain people, and then he acts like friends with others, even though on the outside he still looks the same. But his want for power, or at least power over the world towards the end, it stemmed from actually siding with Kouta for a while. He learned to be teammates with Yoko Minato. He learned to be with Yugishil. He saw all this stuff. He experienced a lot more, and then he came to the conclusion to be like, okay, I can't let anybody else take the world. I need it for myself and remake it. That was like the culmination of everything he's learned with Yoko, with Yggdrasil, with Team Gaim, with Team Baron, all the dancing stuff. That was the peak of his development for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just have a lot to say about Gaim, and everybody can interpret Gaim in their own way, but there are things that you would have to notice a little bit closer to like understand. But on the surface level, as a casual, as like a first time viewer, yeah, I understand that there can be a lot of misconceptions, or you just
confusion
or just things that you don't like whatsoever. Like that's understandable, it's fine, but I also want to bring up that there are a lot of things to enjoy about Gaim, and
I just love memeing Kaito.
Yeah.
You don't have enough strength in you. I don't have enough strength. Like, I think that's a slogan for the whole series.
Yeah, and speaking of the power in this show, it's like absolutely everybody has one way or another. Like, they involve themselves in fights where they feel like they have to hold back somehow. Like, especially Kouta, like, he's fighting with friends most of the time, and he's holding himself back because he has these emotions in front of him, and like that's very like a very poetic kind of a metaphorical way of saying, like, at the very end he's finally giving into removing his emotions and like restarting anew as the man of the beginning, along with Mai. Like, that, I really like that personally.
If we want to step away from the bleak story real quick, we can talk about like the fun parts, the Oren G parts.
Oh, the best mom of all of Rider, Oren.
The best mom.
He is the best mom. Come on. Like,
yeah.
I just loved in the second half. He just became a mom to everybody. Like, he showed the more serious side of him, protecting everyone. No matter who he had problems with, he made sure to protect them. It was so good.
When Janochi finally snapped and was like, Oren, you don't know what you're doing. I just want to help my friends. I'm leaving you. And Oren was looking at him and he was like, it's okay. I understand. I was your age. Please help with what you can. You don't have to become like this man that's in my interpretation, and that was good. I like character development like that, and I think some people would. Well, actually, I'd have to agree that Oren and Janochi should have gotten more screen time, a little bit more development. But I think what we've gotten, it was good. Like they were fun characters, and Oren especially in the beginning with like his mannerisms, and he was like, I'm gonna defeat these kids because they don't know anything about like about war, and he's literally come from like the military while these kids are literally just kids. And, it's so out there, but it's goofy, and I like that. And then Gaim gets dark, so.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like Oren's like a great character. I thought he was just going to be like goofy the whole way through, and Like he has his like goofy moments, like obviously, but like I love like his whole aspect of being an ex-soldier and stuff. Like he has this whole international experience. Like he has all of these life experiences, and then he gets involved with like the war against Yggdrasil, and it's like it's kind of like really interesting like that. I really love Oren's relationship with Janochi, like as sort of a father figure to him. Like that was really cool.
Agreed.
Like even if he cross dresses and stuff, it just feels like a really cool father figure like that, I suppose.
Jason, favorite character?
It'd probably have to be either Kouta or Zack, in my opinion. I honestly thought Zack was really underused for the most part, and I really enjoyed all of his determination, all of his speeches, all of his like connections with everybody else, especially with Kaito. I don't know, I just really enjoyed Zack as a character.
I love Mr. Knuckleman too. He's really fun. He's really cool.
Ren and Jonichi, they're fun. I like them too, but I really like Zack.
I also like Takatora. I'll leave it at that.
Dang, I think we could talk about Takatora alone for like an hour.
Yeah, but before we do that, I'd like to like mention Nevmeister in the chat just talked about. I love that in the series, Ryoma just makes these jingles for his life-saving armored rider tech. I love how much of an egotistical like character that Ryoma is. Like he's on an ego trip all the time, and that explains the rider jingles. That explains why the Sengoku drivers like make these noises, Jinper level, like that.
Breezy has joined the battle. Everybody loves the moment when Kouta and Kaito meet Ryoma for the first time, and Ryoma's like, I created the Sengoku drivers, and then Kota's like, you're the man behind Hanamichi on stage?
And he's like, oh yeah, this is just a hobby of mine.
Yeah.
Catchphrases.
and I love Baron's reaction. He just looks so seriously, like, Knight of Ospia.
What does this mean? Oh my god.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like he's a precursor to Kuroto Dan with how like egotistical he is and he wants to become God.
No, just the powers of God, but he didn't have any godly talents to begin with.
And then in the V Cinema, Ryoma's darn jingle is Incredible Ryoma.
Incredible Ryoma. As if all the other jingles weren't enough. It's just that one.
Yeah.
Oh my
Incredible God. Ryoma. I just Kuroto Dan. Probably should bring up the movies too. We briefly brought up the soccer one, but Liz, did you enjoy the movies and V Cinemas too?
I do like them a good bit. Like I love Takatora's one too.
Oh
like,
my god.
That was part of the emotional.
Gatling shield.
Yeah.
Please, it came before a Gatling chainsaw, but Gatling shield. Yes.
I love like thinking about Takatora's one, especially like even if it's like not mentioned in the show at all. I love seeing the Kureshima's families, like childhood and stuff. That was like a really cool aspect that I don't think I'm really happy we got through these V cinemas rather than like the show.
Okay, I'll be honest. I love the V cinemas only because they bring characters we love back, like in Build and X-Aid. But I've never really been the biggest fan of their story inclusions, especially X-Aids, but I'll get to that some other time. However, in Gaim, I think they were input in a very smart way, and I really enjoyed them. Ryoma's might be my favorite because it takes place like literally like a few episodes right before the Energy Riders like make their debut, and I think it was so smart how they like put all that together and like to make sense within the story, and it was so good. I can't believe it that like how good the V Cinemas accompany the show. Barons too. I think Barons was really funny.
Oh man, yeah, Barons was. I really like Barons.
Yeah, I like the little early inclusion of putting in Yoko, given the Ringo Loxy to Kaito like that. Like that was really cute, like a little nod right there.
I will say that the Zangetsu V Cinema might be my least favorite, but I'm not saying it's bad. Like, it's actually really good. It's just my least favorite of already good movies, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
I did watch the V Cinemas except Zach's, like, the first time around, and I will say that they've gotten way better on the second viewing. All of it did. Even the soccer movie, which I really didn't like that much, I think was way better the second time. And they're just really fun, I guess. They're fun, and they do add to the story and characters.
I'm probably one of those people that when it comes to the movies and V cinemas for Gaim, that when it comes to Gaim's movies and V cinemas, for me personally, it's way better than like the majority of Gaim seasons. Like for me, I got way more enjoyment out of the movies and V cinema. I think my favorite V cinema has to be Zach's because it literally gets to close out the entire Gaim series.
Oh,
It closes it out,
One of the best ending themes.
and it's so good. I won't spoil anything, but it's so good. It may not be anything amazing, but the fact that Zach, one of the characters who became a writer like last minute, got the time to shine and close out the series was so great.
Definitely. Zach's one of my favorites too, so I like that. So the soccer movie was made because I think there was like this big
A World Cup.
Yeah, that's it. There was like a World Cup happening that year, and they wanted to like include a little bit of it. They even had the soccer players.
Yeah.
You can put fruits in a cup. It's all being connected. Yes, we can do that for a movie.
The soccer movie was so out there. Like as a casual viewer of Kamen Rider, like looking in, you'll be like, "There's a movie about soccer? What the heck?" And then when you actually see the movie, it's not about soccer like at all, except for like the beginning and the end. For like 10 minutes.
I would like to add though the scene where like Gaim just starts playing soccer in his router form was so great.
Yeah.
Like it was just so over the top. I just loved it.
Just Toku and sports in general. I mean, somehow they just make it work.
The Die Ranger episodes, those were great.
Rugby and Ultraman X.
Yes.
Just
baseball and Q Ranger.
Just seeing Toku heroes in their suit and their shoes playing sports, it's so great.
Yeah, Jim. In the soccer movie, they had like some what if scenarios that I really enjoyed. Like I actually kind of wanted to see Peko become a writer for Team Gaim, and he became Matsuboka the Energy in that movie, which was really cool. Even if it was only it was for a few seconds, but I still like that he became a writer, and that was fun. I like seeing those stuff. The golden fruit stuff had some interesting lore of like the overlords once were trying to make their own artificial golden fruit, but then yada yada. I thought that was cool. The whole world of Gaim has some interesting lore and world building, especially with the Famushu, the overlords, and Yggdrasil coming out of nowhere and like secretly building up Zawami, and like a monolith coming out to increase the production and stuff. Like all that's really cool. I love that stuff, and it's one reason why I like Garo. It's one reason I like Ultraman, and it's probably one of the main reasons I like Gaim too. There's just a lot like to dig up that's outside of the main story we follow.
One of the chat members, Brian Gojira, he said Ryoma is underused. I think he could have been the definitive villain of the story, and that is true. But,
I really wanted that. But...
I agree with most of that.
Yeah, and like what I really love about Gaim is that like it's trying to be like unconventional, so therefore like, of course, Ryoma would be like the conventional villain throughout the show, and like, of course, we see that now with like 01. That's Gaiamatsu, but like, besides that, it's like this is more about like trying to like find the humanity in like people, and like when people say that Gaim has no villains, like that's like
no, there's really, like a bunch of villains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like when the focus is not on the villains, but rather like the characters themselves go through this like crisis. It's like that's really cool.
I honestly feel that Ryoma served his purpose up until his death in the show.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's underused. I'd say more like he completed everything. There's not really much he can do left.
Actually agree with that, Jason. He did what he needed, and
then
I think Lord Baron being the final boss was the way to go, especially with Kaito and Kouta being the secondary and primary writers. I think that's a very interesting way to take the final act of the story. Blade kind of had a similar thing, but it was more of Blade versus the world than just Chalice. No, wait. reverse that. It was more of Blade versus Chalice in the world, and I think in Gaim, there's just so many factors going in that leads up to Gaim versus Baron that it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And even the last battle, like that was really good. I think Liz, you brought up that it was like Kuga versus Dagova, and it was very good. I really enjoyed it. I like the development Kaito gets up to that point. That both characters get development. I'll get into Kouta in a bit. Yes, he had development. I'll get to that in a bit. But there's just so much that leads to the final battle that it's really good. I loved it 100%. And Ryoma being like he fell off the building. It was where he needed to go, quite literally. And and
Lemon just fell off a very tall building.
His life directed him right to that edge.
Yeah.
There was a couple things I actually did want to bring up that were negatives, because as much as I praise Gaim, it's not perfect. There are some things even I don't like.
There's in like every single show, like it's got flaws.
Yeah,
I have kind of a couple like nitpicks about it, but they're not like huge.
Unlike Kuga.
Yes, unlike Kuga, okay, just like the only thing I'm worried about, like when showing to people, it's like I don't think they may or may not like it because of face. But anyway, back to Gaim.
With Gaim, I do have nitpicks, but I don't think I have too many major things. I think Gaim has too many characters, as weird as it is to say. They have a lot, and while there's like layers to like, these are the main characters, these are the characters that you see sometimes, these are the characters that are bring up like only a couple times, and yeah, I get it. It's trying to fill a world to be like more down to earth, more grounded to us, because normally in life we do have like these lots of people to know, and that's how Gaim is too. And I get it, but
at least they realized the flaw and started.
Start killing them all off because it's Urobucher we're talking about.
Too many characters, let's kill them off.
Jason, what are some of your nitpicks with this show?
Because in the end half, or like the last quarter of Gaim, they had the movie tie-in, right? Mm-hmm. But then a couple episodes later, they have another movie tie-in with like a Kaito thing. And that kind of just made me like really like angry.
Yeah,
it was a huge story moment there, and then they just cut it off with the Kaito movie.
Like, looking back, I mean, like, the episode itself wasn't
The episode itself
bad,
is good, it was fine.
Like, yeah, but then it just, like, broke, like...
It came at a bad time.
Yes,
broke the flow.
Yeah, me and Marcos kind of did not watch that episode at all. We just watched it.
Yeah, it was when I think Helheim was starting to invade. What was it? Mushu entered Zawami, and then the next episode is Kaito episode. And...
Kaito, look.
Yeah,
I can agree with Gande that there were a lot of too many unused characters as well.
Okay, that I'll probably disagree with. I know I'm going to sound hypocritical here when I say there's too many characters, but I think each one served their purpose. I don't think they were underused. I just wish they were used a little bit more, if that makes any sense. Janochi and Oren stick out the most because, well, I don't think they were underused. I do wish we got a little bit more. Team Gaim specifically is my mind says that they probably shouldn't have been here this long. What were their names like Rat? And Chucky and what? I don't know. They're
Are you talking about the rest of the Gaim team?
Yeah, and like we were supposed to know their names because Mai and Kouta are like Rat and Chucky. Where are they? And I'm like, who? Team Baron was fine because it was mostly Kaito and Zack, but then Pekko's there, and I'm like, if Pekko's here, then make him a writer. Come on,
Pekko's baby.
Oh my god,
Pekko's a good boy.
Yeah, and then we have the other teams that like Raid Wild and Red Hot, and all and stuff like that, and they're brought up a few times. So I'm like, what, who? You know, so there are a lot of characters, and while one note characters are there to tell a story, they're brought up more than just a couple of times, which is what makes me say delete them. What are they here for? You know.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my rant for Gaim.
Yeah, but then again, like the little characters, I really love, like especially Bondo, the fruit server. Like I love him so much. Like I love his little like monologues of wisdom are so nice, especially in the earlier episodes.
So is anyone else's head canon that he was Goro from Ryuki, but then after
Yeah.
but then after
himself in a different identity.
yeah, and
And then
then
he beat the shit out of a girl in an extermination team.
after the Helheim invasion, he snapped and became a murderer in Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I would say something, but it's Garo spoilers, so because he also
Oh
shows up in
my
a Garo
God.
season as a
Yeah.
main villain.
He's everywhere.
It's actually Mishima from Kabuto, except he's in witness protection.
Yeah, I do like the little characters like that. Bondo is fun. His employee, his assistant is really funny.
Yeah,
I really
she's
like
funny.
the scene she's in. And again, like I don't think they're underused. They're used like just right amount they need to. But I would have liked to know who she is. I think her name's only brought up like twice. And
It's not like as often as like Satonaka propose. Like it's like
Yeah.
she's Satonaka, and it's like I mean Gaim. It's like you're that lady, yeah, with the nunchucks
I do have
for dessert.
a lot to say about him specifically. One of the criticisms I see of Gaim is that he's just handed power-ups, guys. Sagaro's like, "Ooh, let's give him few power-ups. Isn't that cool?" But I'll have to
Please.
disagree the most on that point because
Yeah.
when me and Liz were watching, I told Liz, "Wow, this scene actually makes a lot of sense in context." Speaking of the Kachidoki scene when he's quote unquote given the power up. I'm bringing up Ryuki a lot because there are parallels to it.
Oh my
but
God.
in Ryuki Tezuka, he was literally given a card just because I forgot his name. The mastermind of the game was like, well, we need someone to fight, so here's a card. That's literally being given a card, but
Yeah.
as a power up. But in Gaim, Sagara is the overseer of like Helheim and what's going on. He's choosing the champions to be the golden fruit. It makes sense
Yeah.
that Sagara.
Yeah.
It makes sense that Sagara's watching Kouta specifically because Mai chose him to be a champion, and Sagara's like, this is an interesting guy. Let's see what he can do. And especially especially after Kouta was what was like he was trapped in a jail cell and he was like given some revelations to Michi and his friends and Kaito Kaito's only lust for power, and so Sagara is the one who tells him. Sagara tells him, not Kouta. Kouta gets this revelation with Sagara together that Kouta needs the golden fruit to get more power. That's his development. He needs it because no one else is going to listen to him. That's why he's given the power up, because he's developing to be a stronger character. He needs more power.
Yeah.
That's his development. It's not just given to him for no reason. He's given an MO to really reach out there, get more power to save his friends, to save the town, and it's something Kouta didn't really believe in at first either.
I don't know about y'all, but I loved Kouta from episode 1.
Yeah, same.
Me too.
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. Maybe it was just a bit biased because of the writers I watched before Gaim.
It's okay.
I mean, like, he didn't catch me at first, but, you know, I really did like seeing his development, especially, like, very later on.
I just love his interactions with like other main writers.
Yes.
Mostly like specifically in the Gaim X Drive movie, the crossover.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Him and Drive fought together,
really-
and Drive said, "Oh, Mr. God, your seatbelt." And guy said, "Oh, that's
I
right."
guess
I'm
I'm
just
just
an
a
all-powerful
space
god.
god.
God?
I'm just a space god.
And Kouta just tells Drive, "Be like, oh, I'm sort of a space god," and Drive is like, "Huh, that's cool."
Yeah, I think Kota's a pretty good character. He's great. I absolutely adore him. He's really dorky, especially at the beginning. Okay, so
Yes.
everybody can
Cash
agree. Everybody can pretend or have this want to like transform, and then when you do, you just like transform in your room by yourself, and you just like practice your poses and all that. It's really cool. I love that. That was probably
What's
one of
that
my
one thing he
favorite
says? Like,
Poses.
if you're an idiot, then I'm a big idiot too, or what
yeah,
is it?
in the Tokuger crossover. Kota's just really fun. I really enjoy him. He's a character we can all relate to in multiple ways. Like his resumes, his dorky attitude, and then when he becomes God, he's still just as like down to earth as he's always been. He just has powers.
That's part of his resume now. I'm space god.
you know, everyone's saying Gaim is all about like growth and responsibilities and stuff, and you know, Kouta did like gain a responsibility at the end, and it was nice seeing the journey to that.
Yes, agreed. There was a lot of development when he finally realized that he couldn't get through to Kaito after all this. He couldn't get through to Michi all that well either. But when he finally got that realization that he needed to grow up, he needed to understand that some people just aren't gonna change because Kota's nice to them. He finally realizes that, and that's when the final battle happens. Like stuff like that is really cool, and then yeah, it kind of made me and Liz like frustrated when he was so naive and couldn't get through to Michi all those times. I understood, but it's also his character. I think I truly understand him a lot more now, and I just really like Kouta.
Wait, what about Takatora?
I told you he's getting his own thing and like for like an hour long.
Yeah.
He's cool. Yeah, the overlords, I really love them too. They do have their own reasons to fight. I love them. They're great. I like Reggie
Ice. What is that?
Oh, Reggie Ice.
I think in the show that they say that like Reggie.
Redu. It's Redu.
Redu. Yeah, that's what they call her. I think she's a girl, by the way.
Yep. Say Tokaiba.
Is it the green one?
Yeah, the green one.
Green.
Really enjoy their characters and that they were playing politics and like who was gonna overthrow Roshu at the end. I thought that was really nice. I love that stuff. I think we've done this for an hour, so do you guys want to wrap this up?
Like at first, like Gaim was like one of my least favorites. It's not like the worst show I have ever watched. Definitely not there, but you know, looking back on some things, there's a lot of things to appreciate about it.
Liz Ranger.
I really, really, really like Gaim. I think it's one of the best Phase 2 seasons, and I'm really happy to have seen it with Marcos. Before I saw this rewatch, I felt like, okay, so I kind of liked Gaim, but it's a cool show, but I'm not going to think for it too long. But now that I've seen it, now that I'm like grown, now that I have sort of have these life experiences, and like I know where to point my opinions to, and I could be like more literarily influenced in my opinions and stuff. Like it was such a great experience watching it, I feel, and I'm very happy to have seen it.
Kamen Crusader / Jason Emmer from the hit show Tokusatsu Gagaga.
Overall, I think Gaim is still okay. Most of it just kind of blended in my head, if that makes any sense. The pacing is definitely really good. The suits are fantastic. But overall, as a show, I still think it's just okay. It's much better than I originally thought.
Jin the Makai Knight.
Gaim's aight.
Marcosatsu. I love the characters so much. The story was phenomenal. The pacing was fantastic. I couldn't ask for anything better. I wouldn't even want it to be like less than 50 episodes. I think it was perfect with its like 47 episodes. It was great. I loved it. So with Kamen Rider Gaim, yeah, it's definitely back in my top 3. So it's gonna go my number 1 being Amazon's, then Hibiki, and I think Gaim's gonna be in 3rd. There's just so much to love about it. X8's back and forth. Yes.
Until you rewatch X8 or Deno. Gaim falls to 4th.
I next season he watches.
I already watched X8. I mean, I rewatched X8 already. It's still good, but not as good as Gaim. So what's coming after History of Kamen Rider Gaim? Well, there will be an update, but maybe you guys should prepare to go to space. And okay, there we go. So with all that Pony said, support the official release. And 5 years and I still don't have an exit phrase. So
take off towards a dream.
Bye, Emmer Jason.
Goodbye.
Bye, Cat.
Bye.